Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will explore REFPROP, one of the famous softwares and one of the most authentic software when it comes for finding out the thermodynamic and transport properties for refrigerants or components. So, REFPROP 10 is the latest version which is now available in the online market, or you can just buy it, and the price is $325. So in RefProp 10 we can see on their website there are some improvements are made in it, and from its previous version, which was RefProp 9. And RefProp is actually, ref is for the refrigerants and prop is for the properties. So in this 10th version we can see there are some additions. For example, they have added some refrigerants, they have added or improved the properties of some refrigerants. So these are the mm, complete details which are available. So here it says like RefProp 10 includes 147 pure fluids, 5 pseudo fluids, and mixtures up to 20 components. So you can just see the details from their website. And this is a paid version, so if you want to use a free version, they have also a free version available. And one more important thing is that it's a NIST software. NIST is National Institute of Standard and Technology. So here let's move on to their free version, which they also give. So here you can see this is the website from where you can just get this mini RefProp version 10. It is also version 10, but there are some limitation in this version, because this version you can only have these components, which includes water, CO2, R134a, nitrogen, oxygen, methane, propane, helium, hydrogen, and dodecane. So these are the only components which are available in the mini RefProp free version, and you can just click and download it from here. The interface is similar like RefProp 10, but the limitation is the limitation of these components. So let's don't waste any time and just dive into this software RefProp 10. So here is RefProp 10 icon, and this is the RefProp 10 interface, and we will continue. And here you can see these are the main tabs available in RefProp 10. So one by one we will discuss all these tabs, and how we can use RefProp, and how we can take properties out from RefProp in the tabular form and graphic forms. So we will see all these tabs one by one. For example, first is the file tab. In file tab it's just open and close. Next is the edit tab. Edit tabs come into action when we have some tables and graphical content. So when we will move towards these tables and graphical contents, then we can copy the data, we can select the data, we can copy the plots, and we can save the plots. So the next is the option tab. And in the option tab, first what you have to do when you are using RefProp, first you have to set the units, the reference states, according to your requirements. So for example, the option tabs has sub tabs of units, reference state, properties, property orders, preferences, and save current options and retrieve options. So let's see these options one by one. So in the units, this window will display, and the units, you can see the temperature, pressure, and all these main terms are, you can see here, and you can select the units in which you want the results to be displayed. And here are some reset units available. You can just click them, and the units will change to SI units with Celsius. If you want English units, you want them unitless, so whatever you want you can just select it. For myself, I use Celsius, and for the pressure I use bars. And next step, you can set the properties. You want the properties to be on the mass basis, on the molar basis, and similarly for composition you can also select them on the mass basis or the molar basis. And here is another tab, small tab. It says like if you want to use the gauge pressure, you will just check this box and it will use the gauge pressure, and it will just subtract this pressure, atmospheric pressure, from the data or from the results of the pressure tab. So here is the units tab. So first, before using RefProp, you have to select the units, your requirements or your required units on which you want your results to be displayed. So it's very important to set the unit first. So moving on, in the option tab, the next tab is the reference state. It is also one of the important tab. So here we can see, here we have enthalpy and entropy reference state values. So the first one, it is usually selected, which is the default reference state value. Other options which you have is the normal boiling point reference state value, where the entropy is 0 for the saturated liquid at normal boiling point. And then there are some other reference state values, which is the ASHRAE, and the other is IIR. So it depends upon you on which reference state you want to set your enthalpy and entropy values. And if you want to specify the reference state value by yourself, you can just select it, and you can also select it by yourself. And I usually use this default reference state values. And one important point here is that usually when you are doing the calculations, you are actually calculating the difference between the enthalpy and entropy values. So the reference state actually does not matters a lot. And next is, there is another tab. We can see the info regarding to the reference state. So you can just click, and if you want to read and you want to know some more detail about this, you can also use the RefProp help, and you can also see anything in detail from these tabs also. So next you can see is the exergy reference state. So exergy reference state is on default is 25 degrees Celsius and 0.01 bar. So for exergy reference state, it is very important if you are calculating the exergy or flow exergy or anything related to exergy. So defining the temperature, the ambient temperature and pressure is very important, because on these parameters you will calculate the exergy flow values. So for this, if you want to set the exergy reference state, you will set it here. So now we will move on. In the options, the next is the properties tab. So in the properties, there are different properties available. You have to select which properties you want in your result. So these are the thermodynamic properties. So usually I need temperature, pressure, density, enthalpy, entropy, CP, heat capacity and quality, phase and heat of vaporization. But depending upon your requirement, you can select internal energy, CV, and any other properties, thermodynamic properties, which you want in your results. Next tab is for the transport and miscellaneous. So there are some transport properties also available. So whichever property you want to be displayed in your tables, you will just select them, or you will just check them here. I have selected the viscosity. So here you can see also thermal conductivity, kinematic viscosity, and other options are available. The next tab is for the derivative. So there are some derivative properties also available. You can select, for example, isothermal compressibility, volume expansivity, isentropic expansion, etc. So you can select whichever derivative property you also want to be displayed in your results. And there are some special properties, and also there are some mixture properties. So depending upon your requirements, you can just select these properties. Okay, let's move on. Other is the property order. So the next sub tab is the selection of the property order. So this order is actually in which order your properties will be displayed in the table. So we will see when we will go and see the results. So the results will be displayed in this order, like first is the temperature, then is the pressure, then is the density, volume, internal energy, enthalpy, entropy. But if you want to move up something, you want to move down something, you can easily move them up, you can move them down, you can move them to the top. So it depends upon your requirement in which way you want them to be displayed. So you can just select the property order here. Preferences are usually related how the windows and how the properties will be displayed to you. So we will not change them, we will keep them here. And it also like tell you if you want to ignore warnings, if you want to ignore error messages. So we will just keep it as it is. But the important thing is here, this tab, you can see there are calculate properties using the default equation. So what equations you are going to use for calculating these properties is very important. You can use the default equations, and if you want to use the Peng-Robinson cubic equation of state for all the calculation, you will just check it. Or if you want to use Peng-Robinson cubic equation of state without volume translation, you can check it. So it depends upon you. Usually I use this default equation. So let's move on. And here you can see the sub tab is save current options. So all the options which you have selected, like the unit, the reference state, properties and properties order, you will just save it so that you will not have to uh, check those properties or units and reference states again and again when you start RefProp. So you will just save these current options, or if you want to change these options, you will retrieve these options. So you will just save these current options and it will save them in the file, which is the default file. You will just save it, it will save the default options. So now when we have selected all the properties and units and references, we will just check that all these as per our requirement. So just to see it, we will just put the temperature value for ammonia, for example 10 degrees Celsius, and at the equilibrium you will get all the other related properties. So just to check, like the units which we have set, we can see these properties on those units as we have specified for temperature degree Celsius, for pressure bar, and for density kilogram per meter cube, and for all other properties you can see like those in those units, all those things are available, and all those thermodynamic properties as well as the transport properties which we have set, it is giving us all those properties. So in this video we have set all the options, our units, our reference state, properties order and preferences, and we have saved them. And now our software RefProp 10 is ready to use, and it will give us these results in these units and these preferences. So in the next video we will keep on moving to the next tab, that is substances. So this was the introduction video. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much for watching.